Hello, welcome to Tarot Concertina. Today we're exploring the energies of Midsummer and the summer solstice here in the Northern Hemisphere. However, this is good no matter where you are in the world. So this reading will consist of an energy check of the recent past, and then we'll take a look at the next 3 months ahead. So roughly the next 3 months are July, August, and September, which is the rest of the summer. So I have 3 piles for you to choose from. The first pile is this rose. It's kind of a magenta fuchsia color. Second pile is this orange Gerbera daisy. That's pile 2. And pile 3, I believe this is a purple iris. So please take a moment to feel out which pile calls out to you, and I will see you at your reading. Welcome, pile 1. You chose this fuchsia rose. Very classic. I've pre-shuffled these cards, but I will tune into your frequency, just like if I were tuning in a symphony before playing. I'm going to start with a quick 6-card spread that's going to act like an energy check of the last 3 to 6 months or so. And this way you can tell if this reading is truly for you. Let's take a look at what cards you have. First we have the 4 of Coins reversed. I think it's hold on, let me look this up. I don't read French very well, but I do have this handy guide. That is the Empress, of course, number 3. And I don't remember if that was upright. Do you remember? We'll go with upright. And then we have the Queen of Wands, the Devil in reverse, the 3 of Coins reversed, and the Emperor. So we have those divine counterparts here, Empress and Emperor. You could be in a pair, part of a pair. It doesn't have to be romantic. It could be you're in a coupleship. Is coupleship a word? It is now. There's a sense of empowerment between these two. I don't remember again if she was upright or reversed, so I'm going to read it kind of between those two. Sometimes you or them might not feel as empowered as they should. And then we kind of, the end of this arc, we are feeling, this is the card of the most empowerment, having the most authority, confidence. They're kind of the culmination of all 4 of the highest suits. So Empress can be thought of as a combination of all 4 queens, and the Emperor, all 4 of the kings. With these two right next to each other, the Queen of Wands and the Devil reversed, it's a very passionate energy. It's seductive. There might be a toxic attachment here. You might bring out the most passionate, but also maybe some of the lesser qualities of each other. The parts you might not be proud of, the parts you might keep hidden. There might be an addiction to each other, codependence, if you will. The energy of the Queen of Wands is she's kind of known as the most witchy of the queens. Very magnetic, spell casting, also a bit changeable. She's very driven. She kind of projects her light outward. She is also usually depicted with a sunflower and a black cat. The sunflower always points toward the sun, but the black cat is there kind of reminding us that she's always using her intuition to make those decisions. And I'm seeing somebody casting their lure, like they're fishing and they're pulling in people who become kind of addicted to them. Ooh, okay. So we also have the two of the suit of coins here, the 4 reversed and the 3 reversed. Perhaps in the last 6 months-ish, you've gone from this state of I'm not holding anything back to like, oh, now that I've shared and collaborated, perhaps I've overshared. I don't know if that makes sense for everybody, but it looks like in the past I'm leaning into this codependent vibes. There's a lack of boundaries here, a lack of physical boundaries between you and another person, or you and an energetic situation. There's not a lot of structure when it's reversed. Structure meaning, like when you have 4 of anything, you have this square and it's very stable. When it's reversed, maybe it's standing on its end and it's not as stable. So we have a lack of boundaries coupled with this sense of toxic attachment. But then we move into 3 of coins, which can represent not feeling completely appreciated for your efforts. This is also a card of creativity, artistry. Maybe you're not getting paid what you want for your work, or you might be in a situation where you work with your partner. Your romantic partner is also your career partner. So that can get a little tricky. So it looks like in the recent past, there's been a bit of a power struggle, a bit of codependence, lack of boundaries, which turned into not feeling appreciated, not feeling like things were quite equal here. And then there's the Emperor at the end. So you two are trying to juggle this work-love balance, it looks like. Okay, if that sounds like is kind of familiar, the recent past 3 to 6 months or so, let's just call that your reading, and we'll move forward and look at the summer energies. Okay, so the first 3 cards are going to be the overall energy for July, August, and September. So this will be July, August, and September. For the July pull, we have Ace of Wands in reverse. For August, we have the 8 of Swords in reverse. And for September, the Ace of Swords in reverse. We have 2 aces here in reverse. And a lot of worrying in between. Okay, we'll get more detail on that. So the next 3 cards, I thought it'd be fun for me, hopefully fun for you too. We'll get a card for the dark energies, and then we'll get the light energies. Because remember, Midsummer is all about the fight between dark and light. Okay, so here are the dark energies. For July, we have 5 of Wands. For August, we have, I think that's the King of Cups. Yes, King of Cups. And September, 10 of Wands. Those are the dark energies. And now we'll look at the light energies for July. 9 of Cups. August, that's got to be death for sure. This is the light energies, remember. And then for September, the Tower in reverse. So a bit of drama happening in your summer. Exciting, it's exciting. And then we'll have one card as resolution for all 3 months. And that is the World in reverse. There's a bit of drama here with death and the Tower reversed. Okay, let's dive into it. So looking at July, we have that's right. I'm not as familiar with these cards, so sorry if I take a little extra time to remember what they are. Ace of Wands reversed. So there's a lack of energy here, feeling a little uninspired, or that the thing that you are inspired to do, you're not quite able to move forward with. And the dark energy is this 5 of Wands. So there's some conflict, struggle, could be internal or within you and a certain energy dynamic, like your partner or your coworker. There's a lot of frustration as the dark energy, and the light energy is lovely. It's the 9 of Cups. It's your sense of wish fulfillment, what would bring you happiness and satisfaction emotionally. It looks like you have some kind of dream that you're struggling to bring into reality. I am getting a message that it might be slightly ego-driven goal that you have. The 9 of Cups can be about a single person's desire. And while you can work with other people and collaborate to get them on your team, it is ultimately about your own vision coming to life. So just be aware that the struggle might be coming because you're thinking of it as more of a solo endeavor. For some of you, that might be true. Others, it's just conflict because you're not able to work with what your original plan was. You may have had a great idea that needed a bit more fleshing out. I'm getting an image of you're trying to work through an idea. You have a great foundation of an idea. You have that bright spark, but there's something missing. There's more refinement that needs to be done to enable it to come forward into something that will bring you great happiness, a sense of personal success. So the dark is the 5 of Wands, the struggle, and the light is you bringing your wish fulfillment to life. So the 8 of Swords in reverse can mean we're either letting go of a tendency to overthink and get stuck in our heads, or we're even pulled deeper into that. So hopefully it's the former, where you've realized you have a tendency to self-criticize, self-sabotage even, or just attack inwardly and kind of get trapped in your own thinking. And it's kind of like you're paralyzed by your own doing. And you may have given that up if it's reversed. So the dark forces at play in August, King of Cups. So we don't normally think of this as a dark card at all. I'm noticing these heirloom pumpkins and just remembering. So last fall, I bought a pumpkin that just looked just like this. And since it was heavy and I'm a little bit lazy, I couldn't bear to throw the pumpkin away. So it kind of just stayed in a spot in the sun in the garden all winter. And I live in Phoenix, so it's very hot through most of the year. Anyway, the seeds from that pumpkin are now sprouting and growing into new heirloom pumpkins, and I'm really excited about it. Anyway, I guess my point with that is maybe there's something you neglected that will actually come back to haunt you in August. King of Cups is about emotional maturity and stability. And then we have, as the light force, again, these are not what you would typically associate with light and dark. We have the kind of the opposite. So as the light energy, we have death, which is all about transformation and new growth. So I'm seeing this as like the dead pumpkin creating a new, better pumpkin that or whatever it is that you let die, or whatever aspect of yourself that's being composted into the soil is going to spring up and grow something new in the middle of the summer. I think that's really poetic and beautiful. So we have death and rebirth. Not to be dramatic, but it sounds like a very profound metamorphosis. Something you didn't expect to grow is coming forward from a mature place that you didn't even know you had inside of you. Okay, let's move on to September. And we have, oh yes, the Ace of Swords in reverse. So that could be a hard truth, a difficult truth to accept, a piercing insight perhaps. For the dark energies, we have 10 of Wands. So that's a sense of heavy burden. You've been carrying a heavy load for a long time and you're exhausted and you're ready to let go of one of these wands. So in September, you might be ready to ask yourself, what am I holding on to that I can let go of? What don't I need to bear the burden of any longer? Zooming in on these, I think those are apples and pears. It's this beautiful harvest that comes as a result of your hard work. The meaning is the dark aspect of 10 of Wands. It's time to let go of something. This is overused phrase. What doesn't serve you any longer? You might be carrying the responsibility of others, and you're going to say that's enough. And then we have, as the light energy, the Tower in reverse. Reversed Tower, I think of as a lesser explosion. It's not quite as dramatic as the Tower upright is. Sometimes think of it as an internal insight, an epiphany that doesn't rock your world, but maybe changes something inside of you. So you may have broken your back carrying these 10 wands for months, and you're like, I will no longer play a part in bearing this entire burden. And that's the harsh truth that comes in September. In the overall energy for all 3 months is the World in reverse. So we have a cycle that is almost complete, but there might be a few things you still need to tie up. Sometimes the World represents closing a big cycle, like a major life cycle. When it's reversed, you might be reopening a cycle, or it's constantly opening and closing. So it's hard to know where in the world you are. In the cycle of opening and closing, you might be reopening something, because you can't stand not to. It looks like you've gone through this epic transformation, a lot of inner growth here throughout the summer. and you're like, okay, I'm ready to restart this journey that it didn't quite work out the way I wanted to, but I've had some really valuable insights and maybe a lot of maturing I'm seeing. Okay, I'm gonna get a couple of oracle cards. Impulsiveness, Mars in Aries, restlessness, Mercury in Aries again. Yeah, I saw a lot of restlessness throughout this reading. And third card. Indecision. Okay, so I think this is just a reminder that indecision can keep you stuck. Mercury in Libra. There's also angel and something in the shadows here. It looks like there's a lot in the balance here. Sometimes there seems to be like this energy you're not fond of that creeps in. It looks like you're very worried about something, and then it kind of catches up to you. And it feels rough, but it's actually part of your whole journey. And maybe there's something, the first time around this ride on this phase of your life, it feels like the first time you rode this roller coaster of the world, you missed a few things, or you intentionally turned a blind eye to some things, and now it's coming to light and you're deciding you can't put up with it anymore. And it's for your own good. And then we have just, I think these are very related. If you're feeling restless, you're prone to impulsivity. Like you really want to get going and you feel a little held back, and there's some struggle here. Like the process of death and rebirth is maybe too slow for your taste. You really want to push this forward. Now I'm going to pull from, this is the Untamed Elemental deck, Oracle deck, and it's full of elemental cards, all about nature, the symbolism of nature. We have waterfall. So with waterfall, my first impression is it's a cleansing energy, washing away those feelings of attacks against yourself, negative beliefs that you hold within yourself. They're being washed away. The things that need to wither, perhaps in the summer sun, and turn into something beautiful, it takes a lot of water. So you got to water your garden for it to grow, and all of that energy and heat from the sun is going to make new things grow. It might not be a comfortable experience, but it will be beneficial in the long run. So I wanted to do a little more research on the waterfall oracle card. I don't have all of these memorized as it is in this book. And it's kind of about nothing's permanent, and you have to kind of let nature carry you away, like get washed away in the water almost, or dive in, and it'll be like a refreshing, cleansing experience, kind of like what I had mentioned earlier. So there's this resistance, and then we really have to resist the urge to hang on, because in a waterfall, it's impossible to hold on. But it's also an abundant energy. If you embrace the flow of the water, you'll be rewarded with a lot of positivity and abundance. Okay, this was A very fascinating reading. If it's you, let me know in the comments, or if you have any additional insights, I'd love to hear it. If you'd like to book a personal reading with me, the information is in the description box. I hope this helped you or brought you insight in some way, and I hope to see you at my next reading. Take care. Thank you. Hello, pile number 2. You chose the orange Gerbera daisy, and I'm getting a very creative energy. I also felt a bit of energy in my solar plexus, which is associated with the color orange as well. I've already shuffled the cards many times, but I will do more as I tune into your energy of those watching pile number 2, whenever and wherever you may be. First, we'll look into the last 3 to 6 months or so leading up to Midsummer, and then we'll look at the next 3 months ahead, July, August, and September. So the first spread will be 6 cards. And this will be like an energy check for you to tell whether or not this is indeed your correct pile. So full disclosure, this has been a really difficult pile to read for. I keep getting interrupted, so maybe you can relate to that in some way, constantly feeling pulled in different directions and distracted. So let me go through these cards again. This is the 3 of Cups, the 6 of Wands, Justice, 4 of Wands, 6 of Coins, and 10 of Coins, or Pentacles. So this looks overwhelmingly positive. These are going to be read as upright because there's no indication of whether these are reversed or not. So if we start here at the 3 of Cups, that's a sense of celebration with loved ones, connecting with friends and family, feeling part of a community or a small group of people. So we have this sense of community and celebration paired with 6 of Wands, which is a sense of victory and being recognized for your efforts. It's also a little boost in confidence. So I wouldn't be surprised if you connected with others in a way that enabled you to reach a goal of some kind and felt more positive about what you were working on, or just felt included. For some of you, you may have collaborated or worked with a small group of trusted colleagues or friends on something that brought you collectively as a small group a sense of victory and confidence. And it's a little cheeky here with the Justice card following. You're like, yes, this was meant to be. This is correct. We all deserve victory. There's a really excited energy here. After the Justice card, we have 4 of Wands, which is about a relationship structure of some kind usually, but I'm kind of seeing it as a portal, a door you can walk through. Here, it's almost like, okay, I'm getting a strange message. You had to look into the past in order to see the future. And that's kind of what we're doing here with this spread. This is looking into the past to see what's to come in the summer. You had to go in and out of a door many times to figure out, like, you kept forgetting something. It's that feeling when you walk through a door and you forget why you went there in the first place. And you're like, yes, I'm on a mission. Oh wait, I forgot what the mission was. It's like, I have this sense of justice. I'm going to follow through with it. I do believe now I can tell this is reversed. So that could be why I'm feeling this sense of walking in and out of a door. Like, we're not quite there yet. We haven't negotiated the terms to both of our likings. That's fair and balanced, but we're determined to do so. It might relate to this group you were working with earlier, or this friendship, collaboration. now you're looking at how do we stabilize this? What contracts need to be put in place? Are there legal terms that we need to work out now that we've tasted a bit of success here? And again, we have a sense of trying to find the right balance with the Six of Pentacles, which is kind of the minor arcana version of justice. So you or your group of friends might be weighing out what is fair, how do we disperse energies or goods or whatever you're working with. I'm feeling like for some of you it's actually material, like you're trying to figure out how to balance like who gets what. Or you're trying to delegate tasks. Since there's more than one of you, it seems to be working on whatever brought you victory. So now you're looking at how to accomplish this long-term vision here with the Ten of Pentacles. How do you balance and distribute funds? It could be funds or something less material and less associated with finances. But it looks like you kind of struck gold here with a concept that really flows and works well as a small group. And now you're finding the balance between, maybe there's a struggle between friendship and work. It can be a struggle to work with friends if you are doing so, so that could be tricky. But the ultimate goal here is to find that sense of whole, the community, the long-term vision. It looks like something's been very successful over the last few months. If we see this as Four of Wands in the reverse position next to Justice, you may have decided the right thing to do was to end a certain relationship. It looks like some ideas had to fall away in order for the long-term goal to be accomplished. We're going to look ahead now at the next 3 months, July, August, and September, and see what might be coming in for you. I'm going to be doing a 10-card spread consisting of an overall energy for each month, and then I thought it'd be fun to look at the dark and the light energies and how they're interplaying. And then we'll get a resolution card. For July, we have the Wheel of Fortune. August, the King of Wands. And September, 8 of Cups. For the darker or shadow aspects of July, we have 3 of Wands. I think that's the Knight of Cups in reverse for August. And 6 of Wands for September. For the light energies for July, we have, the Valet of, oh, that's the King of Cups. Okay. That is the Knight of Wands. For the light energies of, wow, I'm thrown by the 3 kings in the same month. Interesting. We'll get into it in a bit. The King of Swords is next to the King of Cups, clarifying the King of Wands. Wow. All right, and then for September, the light energy is going to be the Ace of Swords in reverse. And for the overall resolution, the Ace of Coins, Ace of Pentacles. Well, isn't that nice? So the overall energy as the Ace of Pentacles is very positive. You might be getting an opportunity you've been waiting for, and I almost want to say you created the opportunity yourself based on the energy check. So coming in July, Wheel of Fortune, it's almost a sense of destiny, like you were meant to, everything was leading up to this point. When you're on the Wheel of Fortune, you don't really have much control over the ride, and it can be a little nauseating. So the idea is to try to find stability and acceptance in the present moment. So if you have this sense of destiny arriving in July, just try to stay grounded in some way. So the Wheel of Fortune in the upright is on your side, and I just heard the phrase fortune favors the bold. As a shadow aspect of Three of Wands, it could be waiting too long for your ship to come in instead of taking initiative and moving ahead. The Three of Wands can be a little scary at times because it's that feeling of being in the middle of a tunnel where it's dark, it's completely dark, and you just have to trust if you move forward, you'll see the light at the end of the tunnel again. So you may have, in July, already taken off in the direction of what you feel is your destiny, or you feel compelled to move forward without knowing exactly what's ahead. You're kind of navigating through the darkness, but you know you need to keep going. Like, do not turn back. You've already crossed the Rubicon. It's a bit of a feeling of suspension here in July. For the light energies of July, we have the Knight of Wands, who carries that flaming torch, which is going to be very beneficial for you if we go with that darkness in the tunnel metaphor. So you'll have this sense of forward momentum, excitement, knowing you're moving in the right direction. The Knight of Wands can also be quite a quick moving energy. He follows his passion. So it looks like you're carrying your sense of purpose through this. I keep referencing the tunnel, so let's just go with that. You're going through the tunnel, you're very confident about what's at the end of it because you know you're supposed to be moving in this direction. I still can't get over these three kings all piled up together. So overall energy, King of Wands. He's the visionary, he's the entrepreneur, and has been coming out in almost every reading I've been doing lately. So if you have a creative vision or you just feel as though you see things with more clarity and you can be a leader, definitely encourage you to do so in the middle of summer in August. So if you think of the reversed King of Cups as the darker energy, that's emotional instability, moodiness, not being able to control your emotions. And then we have a very controlling King of Swords here right next to him. By the way, the gender could be reversed. It doesn't have to be male, but there is a lot of masculine energy here in August. I don't usually interpret the court cards as individual players in your story. I interpret it as different aspects of the self. However, sometimes they are people in your life. I don't know if you're dealing with a partner who there might be some disagreements with. Somebody rules by the heart and somebody by the head, and there could be just this clash of energies here. Or it could be you conflicted between your own heart and emotions and your own thoughts. The head and the heart are disputing each other. I'm going to clarify this further in a bit because I'd like to know more about what this disagreement potentially could be about. I'm also noticing the eyes of these two are looking back into the past, and this King of Wands is looking toward the future. I think the advice here is, yes, you have to think logically and you have to follow your heart, but it's ultimately you have to remember what ignited the inspiration in the first place. Okay, we'll come back to that and clarify it, but for now let's move on to September. Here is the Eight of Cups, the Six of Wands, and the Ace of Swords in reverse. I get the sense in September you might be emotionally disconnecting from something out of necessity. Maybe your emotions were clouding your thoughts, and you're finding it hard to move ahead with the idea you had initially planned. And it might involve what you consider something you felt really confident about, and that sense of victory we were talking about before. That's actually here in the shadow aspect. There's a hard truth here, Ace of Swords in reverse. I would think another pile got that too. There's something that strikes you. It ends up being a positive thing because remember, this side is the light aspect. Something comes to your mind that tells you this is the correct thing to do, but it's not the most pleasant thing. There's a bit of an epiphany here that hits you pretty hard at the end of the summer, where you make a decision to emotionally disconnect or actually remove yourself from a situation, or a sense of false victory. It's a confusing energy because we have Six of Wands, which is very confident, and then we have Eight of Cups, which is walking away from that confidence. And it's a difficult truth for you or somebody to accept. But that's actually for the best. There's something here that might be hurtful, but will actually be a benefit in moving forward. It looks like you might be the one delivering a harsh truth by the end of the summer, involving a feeling of not feeling confident in the situation anymore. There's a bit of conflict here about, like, it hurts, but I do need to move on from some type of situation. By the way, I'll just mention, each month it could be highlighting a different aspect of your life. It doesn't all have to be related to the same concept. And since the Ace of Pentacles is here in the resolution, I'm seeing this more as an overall sense of victory, an opportunity that comes as a result of making the right decisions. Like, there's a sense of pride here about knowing what's right and following your own sense of destiny. I'm going to go ahead and try to clarify, get more information about these three kings. Have strength. Looks like maybe there's a battle of wills here happening in August. A power struggle, maybe. Five of Cups. Someone being stuck in the past, considering applying past negative experiences to the current situation, which may or may not be helpful. And Two of Wands, it's all about making plans, making the right plans. The impression I'm getting is it's hard for a small group of people to agree on a way forward. I'm also reminded of the Three of Cups we saw at the very beginning of your energy check, and we have these three characters here. It might be that same group we're dealing with. And with the Five of Cups, usually we see 2 cups tipped over and spilled. Actually, 2 cups remain standing while the 3 remains spilled, but we're overly focused on the 3 and it's hard for us to emotionally move ahead. There's a bit of a sense of disappointment that it's hard to come to an agreement here. It does look like you finally agree on a plan. It just looks like a bit of a difficult time getting there. Somebody kind of forces their way. It might be the energy of the King of Wands here, since he is the dominant energy of these 3 here. And then you finally agree on a plan that works for everyone, but there's bound to be some disappointment in some ways with certain parties, perhaps. I'm gonna try some oracle cards just to help us understand what can pile 2 expect in the next 3 months. Okay. Excitement. Assertion, that's kind of this energy we were talking about here. If you have something you really want to happen, be assertive in this discussion that happens, looks like around August. And then companionship. So that's that 3 of Cups energy again. I'm really getting a strong impression this is a group of friends who decided to take on some kind of entrepreneurial endeavor. And there's a lot of excitement around it. And then there's a bit of that power struggle that we talked about in the middle of summer. But remember, let's not break up any friendships as a result of trying to work together as a team. All right. I also have these elemental cards. They're all about different symbolism of nature. Ooh. Okay. We have snake. Could be about transformation. And I am not as well read on these cards as the tarot, so I'm going to look up in the book for more information on the snake. So the snake is a very positive card. It's mostly about transformation, shedding your skin and beginning anew over and over again. In the book, it also discusses being grounded, but also part of the ether. It's one of the ether cards. So there's this healing spiral that snakes form when they're in a coil. It's for protection, but there's a nice little metaphor there for the spiral of healing and shedding the skin. You have to start over and over again if you want to move forward in life in a positive way. You can't always be looking back to the past, but you can remember the past as important, valuable lessons. It also talks about taking time to heal over old wounds. I should also mention the snake is also associated with mistrust or not fully trusting somebody within this group. I think that's misguided. Actually, you can trust each other. There's just some kind of element of suspicion here because somebody is reflecting on past hurts. So overall, a very positive reading. And remember, it does conclude with this opportunity in the form of a gold coin. So overall, it looks like a great summer for personal and career growth. And it kind of ends in this golden opportunity, Ace of Pentacles. Just trust in your inner knowing. You might have to convince others of the direction you want to go in. And there might be some breaking of ties here in September that could or maybe not be related to this other pursuit you have going on. But it looks like you know what you're doing and you know how to get to that 10 of Pentacles because you've already proven that to yourself in the past, and now you can move forward with this new opportunity. And the last thing I wanted to do is just get some initials or letters that can spell out whatever you see. Okay, we have pen, P-E-N, the first thing I saw. W-V-H. So you can see if any of those make sense or words to you that I didn't see. A we here, working as a team. We have hen, we have new, pew, pew pew, and some of you might drive a Volkswagen. All right, thank you so much for being here. I hope this brought you insight or clarity or helped you in some way. If you'd like to book a personal reading with me, the link is in the description box. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you at the next reading. Take care. Hello, pile number 3. You're in the right place if you chose the purple iris. Purple is a color of spirituality and healing. You might be spiritual yourself. I mean, obviously you're watching a tarot video, so it could be that you're also interested in the spiritual arts. And I just got something from the mailman, so maybe you'll be getting a message soon. I've already pre-shuffled, but I'm throwing in a few more as I tune into your energy. The overall sense is a very relaxed and warm feeling, so you feel like a kind person. So first we'll do an energy check that will represent what may have transpired over the last 3 to 6 months for you. And then we'll look into the next 3 months of the summer if the first part resonates with you. Knight of Pentacles, 8 of Swords in reverse, King of Swords, the Sun in reverse, 6 of Wands, and 7 of Cups reversed. So overall, it's a very positive energy I'm getting. Over the last 6 months, you may have found a way to slowly unbind yourself from limited thinking or a lot of self-inflicted criticism, but it's been a slow process for you. With the King of Swords here with the Sun, I'm interpreting that as making a firm decision to clear up whatever depressive or clouded energy you've had. Maybe you've had a bit of a blue spell. The sun has been obscured by clouds, and now you're cutting through the clouds. And letting go of negative self-perception, but it's, again, taking you a long time to arrive at even realizing you were doing that. Your own limiting beliefs were getting in your own way. And then we arrive at this sense of victory with the 6 of Wands. And then the 7 of Cups reversed means you've dispelled illusions. So something you couldn't quite see clearly, now in the light of day, we're able to make a decision about something or just rid ourselves of our limiting beliefs. I'm also feeling some of you may literally be in the spotlight. You're a performer of some kind. This almost reminding me of a spotlight being turned on you. And then the Six of Wands is sometimes somebody being looked at by a large crowd. And then this mask is also giving me kind of a performative acting energy. So it looks like there's some anxiety that we've cleared up and some tendency toward melancholy that we're addressing. We're starting to feel a little better about it, and we're able to make clear decisions. So if that sounds like it's familiar to you in the last few months or so, this is probably your reading, and we'll look ahead at the next 3 months of the summer. So let's look at the next few months for you. I've already shuffled these many times, but I'll do a few more. I've invented a 10 card spread. Excuse me, I'm feeling a little congested. You might also be congested or feeling a little like you're trying to communicate something that's difficult, or you feel blocked in some way. Okay, so the first 3 cards represent the overall energy of each of the 3 months: July, August, and September. And the sun's back in its upright position, so I'm glad we had a turnaround. The next 3 cards represent the darker energies at play. Not necessarily bad, just maybe shadow aspects. So we have Strength in reverse, the Knight of Swords, and the Three of Swords. Okay, and then the next 3 cards will be the light energies at play. That might be competing with the darker energies. The Three of Wands reverse, the Six of Wands reversed. Interesting, that came back too, but in the reversal. And Two of Swords. Remember, even though it might seem less positive in the reverse, all these on the right-hand side are meant to be light and positive aspects of what's going on. And then the last card is the overall energy and the resolution. And we have the Chariot, which is beautiful energy of progress, forward momentum. So here we have the King of Pentacles in reverse with Strength as the dark and a Three of Wands as the light, both in reverse, all in reverse actually. This speaks to possible lack of security. It could also be an energy that you have or somebody around you has of really digging their heels in on an issue, or being very stubborn or not very generous. If you're battling with energy or strength, it seems like there might be an imbalance between you and this person, or you struggling to find a way to feel more secure in whatever it is you're working on or whoever it is you're interacting with. There could be uneven power dynamics here. Strength in reverse can just mean you're feeling a little weak about the situation or just physically drained. But the light aspect here, very interestingly, is the Three of Wands in reverse, which, if we're just reading it straight, it's kind of like your plans didn't go as you desired. Things aren't going to plan, but if this is a kind of a blessing in disguise, it might be best that these plans did not take off the way you wanted them to. So the light in the situation being a change of plans kind of seems to free you from this uneven power dynamic or this sense of exhaustion and stubbornness. I'm feeling a bit of heaviness again in my throat and my upper chest. Like this seems to be a very challenging situation for you, but realize what might seem negative is actually a blessing in disguise. All right, and then we move into August energies, which 5 of Pentacles is better in the reverse than it is upright. It's a sense of not feeling abandoned anymore, coming in from out of the cold, being included in a community that embraces you. But it's here because at one point you felt like you were not included or thought of as an other that did not fit in. And then the dark energy and the light energy. The Knight of Swords can be very quick moving, but also quite harsh in his actions. Impulsivity is the word I was looking for. And then we have the 6 of Wands in reverse. Again, what would traditionally be interpreted as not very positive. Not that there's any real bad cards, but 6 of Wands reverse is kind of a sense of like you lost a battle. But again, if it's the light aspect, you could have lost a battle, but you could still win the war. So I'm getting this impression that victory will come from a different method than you thought it would. You're going to have to change your mind about something. You might find out through being defeated or failure, which failure doesn't always exist the way we think it does, because failure is always an opportunity to find another pathway. So it looks like, again, what is perceived as a failing actually turns out to your benefit. It seems like somebody either stubborn or harsh with their words and makes too quick of decisions without thinking it through thoroughly might be putting you in a position where you feel, it's an illusion, but you might feel less than or excluded from something. Remember, you actually have the power here. And then if we look at September, we have the Sun appearing again, but in the upright, as I mentioned before, which is a sense of warmth, happiness, and as we discussed in the middle of summer, it's very potent medicine for growth. You're able to see things clearly in September that perhaps you couldn't see the rhyme or reason behind in the July and August energies. There is this pairing of the 3 of Swords with the 2 of Swords. You might be dealing with a bit of heartache, a sense of rejection, which seems to be a theme here. So if the 2 of Swords is the light energy here competing with the 3 of Swords, you are actually able to blindfold yourself in a positive way so you can look inward. It's kind of like a meditative stasis where your own inner peace can win out over any heartache or discomfort you're having around an emotional situation. There's a sense of overwhelming positivity and clarity of purpose shining over this sense of, well, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know where to go because I have this fear of rejection and heartache. So if you can find a place to sit still and look inward and kind of figure out where this fear of rejection is coming from, I think you'll win out over the fear of rejection. And then we have the Chariot as the conclusion. So after a little bit of unequal power dynamics, of fear of rejection and abandonment, we do end up feeling victorious in some way by the end of the summer. And the Chariot propels us forward. It's also a card of victory, like we saw at the opening energy check. So it looks like you might be in a profession or some kind of relationship where you constantly feel like either welcomed in or pushed away. It's kind of this hot and cold energy. It's like this dance you're doing with it, your career, where it's like pulling you in and then you spin around and then you lose your partner and then you find another one, and I'm getting an interesting visual. But it looks like by the end of the summer, you find your dancing partner or an opportunity and you're excited about it and you move forward with it. But in order to do that, you kind of have to conquer fear of abandonment and self-doubt and low sense of strength, and overcome this rejection and heartache that still is present in your chest. Okay, we're gonna look at some oracle cards for advice and clarity. We have eccentricity, so I would just lean into what makes you unique and special. Have practicality, and bluff. Interesting. So it looks like, practically speaking, you might want to lean into what makes you unusual or eccentric. Don't be shy, like express yourself. Wear the fun outfit that's been in your closet too long. I'm not sure what to make of this bluff card. I'm kind of being drawn toward this energy over here where you're kind of being kept under an illusion of somebody having power over you. I think practically you could move forward if you just focus on your sense of purpose. I'm gonna pull one more oracle card because I would like to know more about this. Manipulation. Okay, so there's definitely something going on where you feel like you're being controlled and it's unfair. Somebody might be gaslighting you, telling you you're the one that's crazy when you're not. You actually see things clearly. You're just eccentric. I think you need to break free from this. There's a mentality that's either self-imposed or imposed by somebody in your life that you're struggling to get out of, but it triggers your sense of rejection and abandonment, so it's really hard for you to escape from it. But you actually have a beautiful life ahead of you. It looks like the way to move forward is by embracing your authentic self and doing what you know how to do and that you know how to do well. it might seem impractical for you to leave a certain situation. And you could also be lying to yourself about a feeling of stuckness when you're actually free to move around. Didn't we get the Eight of Swords earlier? I think we did. Anyway, the tethers that bind you are quite loose, and you can free yourself from it if you just kind of think outside the box a little bit. I'm also going to pull from this deck. It's the Elemental deck, which I thought would be appropriate for nature. For summer I associate with nature, and these are all representations of the elements. Okay, we have Crane. So the Crane speaks about longevity and going the distance on a project and knowing you have the tools and resources to do it. It's also suggesting that in order to do the complete project, to complete it, you have to take it one step at a time. So this practicality card might mean to choose one small task at a time and bird by bird, if you know that reference, make it to the end of this goal. I would really like some clarity on how to move forward with this Chariot energy. I'm not really satisfied with the advice here, to be honest. So I'm just gonna pull some clarifying tarot cards for the Chariot. How do we break free from this sense of restriction? How does pile 3 move forward and feel victorious? Okay, Ace of Wands, follow your passion. Think about what gives you energy, what fuels your fire. Like I just heard, it's time to go. Okay, the Fool, time to go. He just leaps off without even thinking. Came out in reverse, so that's why I'm saying you don't even have to think about it. You just leap forward and you move ahead in an excited way. Because at this point you seem so ready. You're really over this. You're like, okay, I'm gonna jump out of a burning building. I don't care. Okay, one more card. Clarify the Chariot. And then that Eight of Swords came back. How interesting. So the message again is you have the ability to free yourself. If you notice, the feet aren't tied. You can walk away. There's not much preventing you from leaving this situation. You're telling yourself you can't see a way out, but the solution is actually right in front of you. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't free yourself from whatever this feeling is. I hope no one is in a situation where they feel contained or held against their wishes, or it could be self-imposed, like I was saying. Just realize you have the ability to leap off in a new direction whenever you want to. Whenever you choose to break free from your whatever it is that's holding you back, you can take off your own blindfold and move forward and jump in a new direction that you find inspiring. Okay, one last thing. We're just going to get a few letters that might mean, they might spell words or it might be initials or whatever you want to make out of it. Oh, that's a lot. That's okay. Okay, first of all, we're seeing we. Okay, so it might be more than one person. A team of you might work together. H, J, G, T, Y, N, I, R, and P. So take a moment. If any of this makes any sense to you, let me know in the comments. I'd love to get feedback. If these don't mean anything to you, that's fine too. I'm just so glad you were here. I hope this helped you in some way. And if you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe. And I'm wishing you well. Have a great rest of your day, week, and summer. And I'll see you at the next video. Take care.